Totally excited to have you guys all here. Thanks for coming. My name is Brian Hymer. I've worked for Quest Software for about 18 years. I've been here for a long time. We had over 1,000 people registered. And so I'm really thankful and glad you guys were able to get in here, and the room only holds about 225. So thanks for being here. I got a question for you. Active Directory, Flyball, Birds of Prey. Now we're going to try to keep this interactive. We've got 75 minutes in the room. We're going to toss out T-shirts. So you guys come by our booth. Anyone got a T-shirt already? Yeah? This one might be
That's the upside down.
It's the upside down. This is a good one. This is the one I want. Anybody know what these three things have in common? Anyone want to take a guess? If you do, just stand up. No? Anybody know what Flyball is? Anybody know what Flyball is? No. What are we going to do now, Neil? I think we're just going to.
We're in a bit of a bind.
We're just going to have to pass it out to somebody. So who owns Recovery Manager for Active Directory Forest Edition in the room? Stand up if you do. So I know some of these guys already. I know some of them. Let's go here. All right, you're welcome. So these three things, what they have in common is they're all things that my co-speaker, Neil Flood, is taking care of. Neil, what can you tell me about Flyball?
So Flyball, if you haven't seen it, is a recreational dog sport that can be done with any dog that you may own. It's done indoors, and it involves teams of dogs running over 4 jumps, hitting a box, catching a ball, and bringing the ball back. And it's like a relay race with dogs. If you're at all interested, go to YouTube, Google Flyball Can-Am, C-A-N-A-M, and you can see all kinds of great videos of the sport. But we've got a picture here of a dog playing Flyball.
It's your dog, isn't it?
It is my dog, yeah, absolutely.
So tell me about Birds of Prey.
So that's an interesting one. Back when I got started in my career, I showed a proficiency for doing scripting, and I got started doing something called Z-Script. Or Z-Script, depending where you're from. Anyone ever heard of it? Just out of the blue?
Z-Script?
Over there?
One guy?
So that led to someone saying, well, you know that. Can you manage this Perl script that uploads daily photos of our birds at our power plants? This is a previous role I had. And people can see the birds every day during the nesting season. Fast forward 2 years, and they said, we want live video of these birds at the sites. And I find myself 600 feet up on the outside of a coal stack with a gentleman who's an expert in birds saying, we need to mount the camera on this nest. We've got 5 to 8 minutes. Put your hard helmet on, sunglasses. And when she gets angry and leaves the nest box, she's going to dive bomb you. And I said, all right. And he said, well, it's important that you make eye contact and look at her. And I kind of looked at him sideways, and he said, well, if you turn your back on her, she'll hit you in the head. So I'm supposed to stare at the fastest bird of prey, this is a peregrine falcon, and keep eye contact with her and hope she doesn't hit me because I'm looking at her. And at that point, I realized I don't think this was like a 200, 300, or 400 level class in computer science. Like
no.
I missed the bird of prey initiation. So
pretty sure that's not an IT job.
No, I did that for many years, supporting that at my former employer.
So the other one that I loved is the emails that you get.
That's right. If you think you have a passionate user base that complains and sends in emails, they've got nothing on the people who watch these cameras. My favorite email was from a very passionate user watching the birds around the clock. And she said, you need to send a veterinarian to fix the owl. And the reason? The owl's been throwing up every day. And if you know owls, that's kind of their thing after they eat.
Yeah, owls don't poop, they throw up.
They genuinely wanted us to go and fix the owls. So we got emails like that all the time.
Crazy. Thanks, Neil. Tell me a little bit about Cargill, your role there.
Sure. I've said to a lot of people, Cargill is one of those companies. It might be the largest company you haven't heard of, if you haven't. If it was publicly traded, it would be the 5th largest company in the US. It's privately held. It's well over 100 years old, 150 years old. And we do business in 70 countries around the world, mostly focused in the agriculture or things around agriculture. So animal nutrition, grain, financing for farmers, agricultural equipment, And there I'm helping lead the Identity and Access Management team.
Yeah. I was actually on my flight here, and the guy in front of me, I started talking to him in the security line. He said, yeah, I work in the meat industry. And I said, oh, well, you ever heard of a company called Cargill? And he said, yeah, I love those guys. I work with them all the time. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk, just like we said in our bullets, we're going to talk about top indicators of privileged account misuse, how easy it is to take down an Active Directory, and actually have an example of that. Preparing for AD disasters, determining an optimal recovery time objective and recovery point objective. Is anyone not familiar with those terms in the room? It's okay to raise your hand. It's okay. Wow, I like that. AD forest recovery. We're going to do a demo of a forest recovery using our Quest product. So I'm going to actually kick that off in a moment. And we're going to talk about hybrid AD. How many people are, okay, I should say this backwards. How many people are not doing Office 365 yet? Oh, there's a few. Okay. So there's things that you have to worry about when you go that direction. And we're going to talk a little bit about the gotchas in that. And then lastly, how to justify a tools purchase with your CISO. So with that in mind, let me switch over here. I use the top button. Is that right? For 6?
Looks like it.
Well, so yeah, it switched over. Good. Good. Just want to show you, this is a lab I have. It's running in a cloud environment called SkyTap. Everything's ESX in the background. But I have 3 domains here. You see Acme and Aussie and Poodle. Poodle and Aussie are peer child domains. Acme is the root. Okay, the reason I picked these names is we got an Aussie doodle 2 Christmases ago. And so Australian Shepherd and Poodle, that's where it came from. Neil, you should like that, right?
Absolutely.
But I went out here this morning early, and I ran a script in each domain to reset every user account password to something that nobody knows. And so when I come in to my application server, and this is where I have our Recovery Manager product installed. Just give it a second to pop up here. If I try to log in, and we keep, because we use this lab for demos too, so if you want to try out Recovery Manager after this, contact your sales rep for Quest, and we can get you a chance to do a live POC right in this environment. But if I come in here and I try to enter the password, which we don't have anything real special, we're just using password with $2 signs and a capital P. If I try to log in, lo and behold, it fails. Okay? So my environment is essentially hosed. No admin can log in. Let's say this happened Friday night, right? You don't find out until Monday morning. You're host, right? But if I log into here with the local account, and use that password, because in a lab I'm using the same password, I can get into this desktop, and then from there, I could just go into Drive C, drill into my domain administrator's account. Again, this could be whoever it is. Hopefully you're not using the built-in administrator's account. Go into Documents, and here we have our full forest recovery project using our tool. And again, I'm kicking this off because watching an actual forest recovery is kind of akin to, I don't know, watching paint dry or corn grow, right? There's not a lot really to see. So I want this to run in the background while we continue talking. So I'm not using a very powerful password here. Looks like I'm having a little, maybe I got the wrong one. But we do use a password on the projects to encrypt any credentials that are inside of the project. And we use SHA-256 encryption for that. So here's my domain controllers. Again, 2 DCs per domain. And I'm just going to run a verify settings first. And we'll see, just highlight one of these guys, so we can kind of see the process down below. It's going to just reach out to our forest recovery agent, which is already installed, and make sure that it can communicate there, that it can reach the backup files. And once it's verified all that, I can kick off recovery, and then we'll get back to our talking points. So, give it just a moment. Okay, that looks good. So I'll kick off our start recovery. We give a couple warnings here, and if you want to know what all these say, I can tell you later. We're just going to skip through them for the interest of time. So good, my forced recovery process has started. Let's switch back here. I have a few numbers I wanted to share. Somebody tell me if they know what these might mean. 87, 500, and 300. 87 is a percentage. We did a research, a survey of about 212, I'm going to give an exact number. That's what happens when you're nervous. 87% of the IT pros that we surveyed said that they reported incidents in Active Directory. Has anybody here never have had an incident in Active Directory? Ooh, wow, I actually got a few. I'm surprised. So, but 87% of IT pros, so now I actually feel a little bit better. A few of you said, no, you've never had one. That's good. From that, the next number, 500, in a large part because a third of the organizations spend 500 hours a month investigating and responding to alerts or incidents within AD. It's a pretty high number.
It's a huge number.
You know? And according to Gartner, oh, did that go? Good. $300,000 per hour is the cost of an average downtime. Now, I'd love to say what size organization puts out $300,000 an hour in downtime. But I know from other surveys I've seen in the past that number can be a lot higher, especially if you're a very large organization. So these were results from this dimensional research survey that we did. And you can see that they cover everything here: forest disasters, domain, non-domain objects. Neil, have you had challenges in Active Directory?
Oh, absolutely. One of the big challenges we've had, both a few of my roles, is you're dealing with an outsourced management environment. So it typically means you've got more admins, potentially have higher turnover. You don't know who's doing what. We've had issues with misguided administration, is what I'll call it, which is typically non-malicious, but they've done something with administrative credentials that they're not supposed to do, sometimes in the interest of expediency, but it's not being mindful of compliance and those types of activities. And it really gets difficult to keep track of who's making what changes to Active Directory, especially as your environment gets bigger.
Right. So have you leveraged native tools to try to get that done?
We've tried. Native tools can be a challenge. One, it can be hard to find out when an event occurred. It can be hard to find out who did the event. You may find out where it came from, like a member server or whatnot, but you don't know who actually committed that transaction. It can be very difficult to find out what changed. You might have something that's changed, simply like an attribute, but you don't know what it was beforehand using native tools. You typically know the new value.
Not the old value.
Not the old value. And that can be a big deal in a compliance scenario, depending what kind of work environment you have.
And sometimes these types of changes come through in the environment due to GPO changes, right? And so when a GPO gets inherited, those changes happen to a system, and yeah, track that down.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So by the way, these problems, these don't change when you go to the cloud, right? How many people are using Azure AD today? Azure AD is another layer of complexity on your Active Directory environment. And there's some gotchas there we're going to talk about later. Native tools. Native tools really aren't enough. Would you agree, Neil?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So even if you have Event Viewer, even if you were doing event forwarding, that's not going to scale to a large environment. And what I've found in my 18 years is that native events can have a lot of gaps. I'm sort of infamous for saying Microsoft doesn't care about auditing because they'll produce events that are cryptic to read, are difficult to understand, and they have gaps. So and I think they've gotten a little bit better over time, but for the most part, there's a lot there that could be desired. The ability to centralize that log data is of key importance. If you're going to do Active Directory auditing, you've got to get your log data into one place. So, and then in this day and age, we're seeing behavior analysis become a resource tool that's available to use. And so that way you can start telling what's normal, what's not normal for a particular user, and only focus on the needles instead of the whole haystack. When it comes to recovery, the recycle bin is not really enough, right? What if somebody runs a script and changes an attribute? Let's say your identity and access management system decides to modify everybody's proxy address to match the corporate standard, only it modified them wrong. What do you do? And GPO changes, we talked a little bit about that. Or what if that doomsday happens and something corrupts your Active Directory forest? Those are pretty serious problems. Okay, I think I covered all that. So we're going to talk about privilege misuse. How do you identify privilege misuse in your environment? And we're not talking about external threats here. We're talking about internal threats. So it might be an account that's been compromised, or it may be a disgruntled employee, or, and I have a good example, it may be just somebody that stumbled upon a vulnerability in the Microsoft platform and caused a major problem. When it's privilege misuse, I think these are probably good indicators of what you should watch for. A lot of failed authentication or access attempts, massive changes to AD permissions, especially if it's privileged permissions, so changes to privileged groups or accounts. Any deny type changes. Now, I'm not just talking about permission changes, say somebody's denying access to an OU or a file share, but there's user rights that can deny access to a server. And those are important to monitor as well. Or any use of unusual tools, and I'm talking about things like the sysinternal tools, AD Explorer, see I wrote these down here, access enum, proc dump, strings. Those executables from sysinternals are used by pen testers. And you might have a pen tester wannabe or hacker wannabe running those same utilities. Neil, when you have these incidents that we've talked about earlier, how do you identify who's done what?
It can actually, without some of the tools, it can be really difficult to figure out who's actually done these things. We've, using some native tools, we've been able to, like I said earlier, pinpoint where it came from, but actually finding out who was on that machine when multiple users are connected wasn't possible. Not in a timely fashion.
Yeah, and the proxy address scenario I was talking about, I always like to share this. What if you're at the help desk and somebody calls in, says, hey, I'm getting NDRs when I send to Neil. And, well, you go in and look at Neil's account, and his proxy address is wrong. And you're like, oh, that's weird. You fix it. You get another call. It's the same thing for a different user. And then you get 3 calls. And then, all of a sudden, the call tree, it lights up like a Christmas tree because everybody's having this problem. But you're not getting NDRs. You're still getting email. So how big is the problem, and how do you figure out what changed and what didn't, right? So about the unusual tools, that type of data is usually only found on workstations. So how many people here, this is a great question, I should have had a t-shirt for this one. How many people here are monitoring their workstation event logs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And there's 225 people in this room. Security breaches are not happening on the servers. They start on the workstation. So if you're not monitoring your event logs on the workstation, you're making a big mistake because you're not going to be able to front end and head off those types of breaches. And if it's a disgruntled insider, he doesn't even have to load things like PowerSploit or the sysinternal tools or Mimikatz to run them on his workstation. He can run them from a live website. And he can get a lot of information and elevate privileges and get credentials and do all of that. And if you're not watching, you don't even know. So big point. At Quest, we've nailed down about 9 insider threat activities, and this graphic kind of shows those. There's 4 goals to privilege misuse. One is destruction. I'm going to make changes to your environment to deny your access. It's kind of like what I did in my lab, right? I changed everybody's passwords, so now nobody knows what to log in with. That didn't take me long, by the way. That was a 1-line MS-DOS command line that I did. Extortion. Anyone here had an attack by ransomware? Yeah? Did it reach your domain controllers? Whew. There's been a few incidents of that. Theft, extraction of data. Or escalation, simply granting yourself more privileges so that you can reach more information than you're supposed to, whether you're going to extract it or just use it for extortion. That's another big misuse that we see. But insider threats may also be human error, common or not so common mistakes. Neil, we talked about this one, the snooping user. This is where somebody seems to be looking for more access than they should. Maybe it's not just because resources are locked down, but you had a scenario that was similar to this.
Yeah, we had a user who was running queries to find out deleted users and their access levels. They didn't know they were deleted, but they were running all these queries, and it throws off some bells and whistles. In the end, it didn't turn out to be malicious, but it certainly raises some alarms when those kinds of things occur.
Yeah. We talked a little about having, excuse me, having the ability to use behavior analytics. So this is an example of behavior analytics and what it could do for you. You can see, and I wish I had a mouse pointer, down at the bottom you can see off-hours access. Maybe you're seeing an account logging on at a period of time that they don't normally log on. Or maybe it's from an abnormal workstation, right? Maybe there's several failed attempts before it actually works. You might see failed access to restricted data. Each one of these, I'm kind of walking up the bar from the bottom, each one of these could raise a risk score, for example. And as a risk score gets higher, that person becomes more visible as a risky user within your environment. So this diagram is really looking at about an hour of time. And a single anomalous activity may not be cause for alarm, but a series of related and sufficiently abnormal user events within a given period of time may be worthy of your attention. So some systems do this way using risk analysis to raise them up. And lastly, at the end there, you can see multiple sensitive group memberships changed. That's somebody that's trying to get their privileges put into other accounts, or these elevated privileges put into other accounts so they have another door should you close down the one that they used. So it becomes really hard to watch for this type of activity. But Quest has actually released just recently a tool called threat detection. And threat detection does this very thing. This funnel icon that I've got here is an example of our user behavior analysis. We ran a beta test of it earlier this year. And in 60 days, we produced 387 million events. Sorry, I'm just going to step over here and relog into my workstation real quick. And we'll take a look at the recovery process here in a moment. Of those raw events, 1,153 threat indicators were found. And of that, we only produced 304 alerts over 60 days. So that's about 5 alerts a day to go investigate. Does that sound like a manageable number, Neil?
Manageable. 5 is very manageable.
So, and out of that, we found 180 quote-unquote risky users. Now, every user had a different score level, and our product actually shows you the top 5 risky users in your environment. It really helps you get to the needles instead of the hay. So. Oh, hosing Active Directory. I got another question. And I kind of asked this already in one form. So, have you ever had a privileged insider intentionally attack your IT environment? If you have, stand up. Now, if you have and you don't want to say, that's okay. You can take your badge off first if you want. Or maybe we should change the question. Have you ever had someone accidentally damage your IT, your Active Directory environment? Anyone? No, don't raise your hand. Stand up. Stand up. It's a good crowd. How many had this incident, the recovery for this incident took more than a day? If it's more than a day, stay standing. If it was less than a day, sit down. It's getting pretty small. How about more than 3 days? Wow. All right. I didn't think I'd get to 3 days, so that's pretty cool. I'll toss one here. Here you go. Great. Awesome. I'm going to switch over. I didn't think this was going to go as fast as it did. But here you can see my Active Directory forest recovery completed. I'm just going to tab over here, and I'll resize this. I want you to see some of these steps. So we do a number of steps. All of these DCs, by the way, were restored from backup. So this is the fastest way to bring your Active Directory environment back up and running. Now, obviously, there's other issues here if it's not just an Active Directory system state corruption issue, but there's something else going on, like the OS itself was attacked. So we're going to talk about that in some more detail. But I wanted you to see we actually recovered the forest using an automated process and without even a domain account to get it done. Switch back over.
Yep.
So last year, I don't know how many of you know Randy Franklin Smith. Raise your hands for that one. I don't have a T-shirt, but nobody? A couple people? Randy Franklin Smith runs a website called ultimatewindowssecurity.com. And we use him sometimes to talk about various topics around Active Directory management, recovery, auditing. And last year we did one called 3 Ways that a Privileged Insider Could Hose Your AD. So this information came from that webinar. It was November last year. One is deny logon rights, kind of what I just did in my environment. He does it a different way, so we're going to look at that. Taking down DNS, that's another one. And lastly, the exploit, the vulnerability that somebody stumbled upon. I'm going to share that one with you too. The point he was making is that breaking Active Directory is not hard. If you're a privileged insider, it's very easy to cause really big damage. But recovering from it, that requires preparation and planning. Okay. Here's that deny logon rights. There's our little Hank the hacker up there in the corner. I think this is probably worthy of Hank, because if you don't deny access by granting these rights, and I love this too, notice it says system security access was granted to an account. And that grant, if you look down on the access right near the middle of the screen, it's SE deny interactive logon. So I've been granted deny privileges, which means I can't log on to that box interactively anymore. I think that's pretty funny, the way that comes out. Microsoft doesn't care about auditing. Did I say that earlier? Okay. So we actually did this scenario where we denied access to these rights, and you have to do it in a certain order or it just doesn't stick. But I did that in the same lab environment and ran recovery, and it worked. Neil, have you ever had AD go sideways on you?
Yeah, actually, not where I'm at now, but the last place I was working, we had it go sideways pretty quickly when the wrong GPO that was supposed to be changed got promoted to production, but they hadn't changed some of the values from the test environment, or the namespace in particular, and it pretty quickly caused a lot of users a lot of problems. Now,
wow.
It wasn't an unmitigated disaster, but we had to recover from that pretty quick so people could get, basically so users could be efficient again. Wow. And it doesn't take long.
And what's hard is when you don't know where this is happening from, right? And a GPO change, how did you find out it was a GPO change?
Well, we actually were using the Quest tools to find out, but I don't know if I could have found it in native tools that quickly, but we had a suspicion it was GPO, and the user who did it just said, give me every GPO change that's occurred in the last week. Well, they all had occurred that morning by him, and then he had that sinking pit in his stomach kind of feeling, and we were able to address it, but it really, you saw the help, just like Brian said earlier, the help desk lit up like that. Login problems all over the place, and yeah.
Recovering from it wasn't too hard because you found out what it was and you were able to reverse it.
That's correct, yep.
And then you just wait for GPOs to get updated again. And
yep.
Well, that's good. DNS. DNS is another one. If DNS doesn't work in Active Directory, nothing works, right? Active Directory relies on DNS. How many people are using AD integrated DNS? I'd say maybe half the room. Half the room? Wow, that's pretty good. This is our disgruntled Dan up there, one of our other mascots. If you come by our booth, you can learn all about him. Dan's, he's an IT guy. Maybe he's not the smartest IT guy, but he figures if he deletes the forward lookup zone, that's going to be a great way to bring AD. Actually did this test too with our forest recovery product when we did this webinar. And the funny thing is, if you're using AD integrated DNS, that has enough time to replicate, right? Because your DCs have that information, have their downstream replication partners in the DNS cache. And so this data will replicate, but 15 or 20 minutes later, the cache expires, and then it goes to look up that account again, or that IP address again, and the zone's not there. You're hosed. Our tool actually stores all the DNS information, stores every server, stores the DNS client settings. It knows what those need to be for all the domain controllers, and it uses that information when we do forest recovery. So this, again, was not an issue for us to recover from. Okay, here's the careless Craig one. That's Craig up in the corner. Craig's Canadian. Neil, I'm sorry.
He apologized for his mistakes afterwards.
So this actually did happen to a customer of mine. They were using Server 2012, and they went to make a change to IPv6 subnets, and they were actually changing the subnet mask, and they did it wrong. Anybody know how to read IPv6 addresses and subnet masks just verbatim? Are you able to? Anyone? Me neither. Oh, one guy. Wait, a couple. I'm impressed because sorry. So if I went to go enter those manually, I'd probably mess up and make a mistake too. But that's what he did. He didn't add a new subnet. He deleted, or no, he modified a subnet mask, and the GUI let him do it. And he didn't realize that he had done that. And a couple hours later, he went onto that DC and his session was locked out, and he couldn't log back on. He's like, that's weird. He logged on to another domain controller and made the change he needed to, and he said, I'll deal with that other DC later. Went back to his work. A little while later, he had another account management change to make. He went onto that server. It's not logged on anymore. He goes and looks now at the server. It's rebooting. It stays up for a couple minutes, and it reboots. So it's staying up long enough that that problem replicated to another DC, and then another DC. And in about 3.5 hours, every DC in his forest, 33 domain controllers, were in an endless reboot. How'd you like to have that happen? Now again, he didn't know what he had done wrong, but the aftermath is he figured out the mistake he made, and we duplicated it. And yeah, that's what it does. If you make an invalid IPv6 change, and the KCC comes upon that when it's setting up replication, it crashes. And if the KCC crashes, the DC crashes. It reboots. So that's what was happening in his environment. Now, he told Microsoft, and they said, you can't create an IPv6 subnet mask with the wrong IP address. We catch that in the GUI. And he said, I didn't make it that way. I modified one that was already there. And they went, oh. Okay, so there's something we need to patch, and they've patched it. It's fixed in 2012 R2. So hopefully you guys are at least on 2012 R2, and you won't have to deal with this issue. But my point is, that data is still there in Active Directory, and you could go in with something like ADSI edit or LDF and make those changes if you were malicious and cause the very same problem. Right? And other uncaught vulnerabilities like this, I guarantee you, are going to come up in the future. It's just the nature of our business. We do very complex IT things, right? Any comments, Neil?
Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't me.
Yeah. All right. So, being forewarned is being forearmed. Prior knowledge of possible dangers or problems gives one a tactical advantage. So understand you need to be prepared. It may never happen, and Lord help you, it never will happen. But you're going to be the ninja. You're going to be the rock star if you can recover your Active Directory fast. My client example, the only thing that saved them, single domain forest. All the DCs were in one state. So they literally, oh, and it happened on a Friday afternoon. So almost everybody went home. Their 5 IT guys worked through the weekend, driving out to where the DCs were located, taking the hard drives out or unmounting the server, bringing it back to the data center and re-imaging it, and then driving it back out and putting it back in place. That's what they had to do. They finished somewhere between 5 and 6 in the morning on Monday. How'd you like your weekend shot? We know with our tool, if they had had it in place, they would have needed to reboot those servers into DSRM, so they're not running the KCC anymore. Directory services is down. But then they could have kicked off forest recovery and been back up and running in 45 minutes. Okay, enough of that. I got another question. How many of you have an Active Directory forest recovery plan? If you do, stand up. Wow, I'm so excited. This is good to see. But it's still at less than half of the room, wouldn't you say, Neil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so of you guys standing, how many of you test your plan at least annually? Quite a few. Oh, a few more sitting down. Good. Okay, all right. Pick someone. Go for it.
Oh,
you have. He has one. Throw it on. Throw it on. Right on. Awesome. So this is a very important point. I don't know if you guys remember our experts conference. Gil Kirkpatrick. Do you guys, anyone know Gil Kirkpatrick or know the name? He's a Microsoft MVP. Gil used to say, listen, if you have a plan, that's good. You have maybe a 15% chance of recovering your forest in a timely manner. If you don't practice that plan, your odds go way down. Right? So you need to be practicing your plan. If you have a forest recovery plan and you're not taking the time to run your staff through it so that the people that are there are trained, you're making a big mistake. This was one of our bullet items, the symptoms of a failing or failed AD forest. This is rather obvious. I see a couple of you taking pictures. Hope that's good. Active Directory isn't responding. Okay. Applications that use Active Directory, things like Exchange, a lot of things use Active Directory today. They're not responding because AD's not responding. Authentication and password failures on users, computers, trust accounts. Replication errors. You can look in your replication, your directory services log on a DC, and it's just full of red. Right? That's a big indicator. That energy company that we talked about earlier, that's the endless reboot.
Wasn't the one I was at. Let's be clear about that.
Oh, good, good. But we do have on our website a article, a white paper on that very incident. Loss of all DCs in a domain. So I have another Microsoft MVP that shared with me a company that had 2 DCs in their root domain. And one of them went down with a hard drive failure, and they went, oh, we'll fix that next week. Well, over the weekend, the other one went down. Is there any other notes there? I think that's good. All right, so let's define a disaster. All right? A calamitous event, especially when occurring suddenly, causing a great loss of life. Damage or hardship or a flood, like an airplane crash, or you guys all know the story, right? But in IT, it's an unexpected event that causes a substantial loss of services. That's what we're all trying to avoid. To critical business systems for an unacceptable period of time. We're going to talk a little bit more about that too. I love the AD admin's definition. Anything bad that occurs that A, you'll be blamed for, right? Or B, will cause you to stay late or come in on the weekend. Neil, let's talk about a couple disasters, right? So how about this? The disk drive in a DC fails.
No. Huh? But the disk drive in the only DC fails.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good.
Probably a disaster.
All right, here's one. You accidentally delete a user object for the temp worker in the front desk.
That's not a disaster. However, if you accidentally delete the user object for the CISO, I have a story about that later.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, you accidentally delete an OU containing test users, computers, and groups.
That wouldn't qualify as a disaster. No. However, you accidentally delete an OU containing all the users, computers, and groups.
Yeah, okay, all right. The HR AD sync processes deletes the user objects for a former employee instead of just moving it to another OU. Do you guys do this deprovisioning thing? You know, disable the account, take out all his group memberships instead of deleting the account. So that could be a disaster. We deleted the account.
It's not quite a disaster.
No.
But if the HR sync process deletes all the users and groups in the forest, that's going to be a big problem.
Okay, all right, one last one. And this kind of falls into what we talked about earlier. A bug in a Windows patch causes a DC to crash and reboot endlessly. Is that a disaster?
No.
No?
But if it causes every DC in the forest to do it, you have a disaster, as you alluded to earlier.
Definitely a disaster. Thanks, Neil. Okay. Preparing for AD disasters. Privileged access should not be necessary on a daily basis, right? And so you should consider some sort of a PAM solution or PSM solution to monitor privileged access. That's just smart. Or any interactive logon on a domain controller would be a really smart thing to do. To do that, to be really prepared, you need to have an audit trail. So you need to know what changes are happening in your environment, because when disaster strikes and you need to go figure out what happened, you need to have those events stored already. I can't stress this enough, because if you don't know what happened or when it happened, or you have no idea, then it's going to be really hard to find the right spot to restore from. So, and you should be collecting your native logs. You should, if you have a tool like ours, our Change Auditor product, that's a great tool for watching changes in AD. It'll cover a lot of gaps that the native logs don't even show. So that's really important. Secondly, you have to have a plan. So I was really glad to see probably about 25 to 30% of the room stood up to say they have a plan. That's great. You need to document your AD topology. You need to understand your DC names, your forest names, your domain names, the IP addresses for your DCs, the subnets that are in your environment. You need to have that information available so that when you're doing a recovery operation, you know what those values should be. And then you need to have backups. Now, bare metal backups, that's important, I think. There are maybe scenarios where you don't need to bare metal backup all of your domain controllers, and we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. And lastly, you need to test. You need to be able to test that recovery plan. So I don't know if I have anything on the right here that I really want to keep up. Let's keep going. One of our other bullet items for this presentation is that we're going to send you a package, a white paper that tells how to do a creation of your production Active Directory into a lab, so that you would be able to do that kind of testing. So we're going to send this out. There's 2 papers I think we're going to send out, but we'll send these to you via email later. Now, RPO and RTO, I was really glad to see that you guys all know what those terms are. I'm just going to refine them here, or redefine them here a little bit. Our focus in this scenario is Active Directory. And in a full disaster, there may be other systems in need of recovery, but we're focused on Active Directory for this seminar. What's always missing to me is a type of disaster, right? Like kind of the disasters that we talked about earlier. But RPO is a recovery point objective. That's the point in time to which data must be recovered after an outage, right? An RTO is how long does it take you to recover? So that's a recovery time objective. So just to graphically show these, an RPO, how far back can I go and how much data can I afford to lose is really the question in an RPO. In an RTO, again, that's the amount of time between the beginning of a critical data loss incident and the time that data in all the systems is restored. Right? 2 very important points in building this. And once you've done this, you can have sort of a business impact analysis. And this is what I've kind of done here. Neil, are there considerations when defining RPO and RTO?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we certainly looked at was what other mitigating systems and controls do we have in place that if AD went down and we recovered it, how much data could we lose? We looked at things like our IAM system. How frequently is it updating AD, and can it get us back to a state and time? If AD had, 24-hour-old data, in the last place I was at, it was only refreshed from HR every 24 hours. Oh. So it was acceptable to have a 24-hour loss of data. We could get back up to speed. And you don't need to have all those backups throughout the day. But you have to look at what's updating Active Directory and how frequently is it updating Active Directory to determine what your RPO is going to be, really.
Right. So what you're saying is if you have a good audit trail of the changes that are happening in AD,
yes,
then your recovery point objective can actually be larger.
That's correct.
Because you can use that audit trail to get you back to the...
And things like ticketing systems, that you can go back and say, okay, what kind of tickets did we get to update AD in the last 24 hours? We may need to reapply those changes, depending if it's automated or manual. Right. If you have those things in place and you can go back and look, you may not need to have backups done every 5 hours.
Good
point.
That's great info. So I kind of broke this down into 3 levels of severity, and I think one of the slides we didn't put in here was a risk analysis slide. But deciding what type of severity of disaster you've had, that can really weigh on how much time it takes to recover or the point of recovery that you need. Severity 3, kind of the lowest, right? Single account or an object or an attribute level change. Yeah. And these are just speculative numbers for me. But your RTO is, within 3 days we need to recover this for the business to be able to function. Your RPO is the earliest to when it was reported. Sometimes you don't learn about these changes for days afterwards, right? Until somebody finally calls the help desk and opens a support case, right? Severity 2 is more of a massive change. You're probably getting the Christmas tree light up in the help desk on this one, right? So maybe your RTO is much smaller, and your RPO needs to be much smaller too, because there could be a lot of changes that were valid changes that you wouldn't want to overwrite. And then severity 1, the doomsday. 24 hours, does anybody have these RTOs or RPOs? If you had a doomsday scenario, do you have an RTO at 24 hours or is it less? Less? Is it 24 hours? Right. So if you lose a user account in Active Directory, do you consider that a Sev 1? Okay. Yeah, okay. The user does for sure. Amen. Yeah, that's true. I did break this down too into a chart and talk about maybe how you'd take care of these different approaches. So if it's a severity 3, a user account or an attribute was modified, you could use maybe the recycle bin, or maybe use that audit record you've got to reverse the change, yep. Right? If it's severity 2, now you're probably looking at backups to take care of it, especially if it's mass changes, and you better have some sort of a good script or a tool to take care of that. Severity 1, well, now you're talking real serious. You want to make sure your backups are protected, not just sitting on a file share, but probably offline. And that way, if it's something like a ransomware attack, you've still got backups that are valid. One of the things in our lab environment, I couldn't log on to that server. I had someone ask me once, well, what if that server was also gone? And now you don't even have the server with your project and everything. Well, there's certificate files, because all of our communication in the 4th edition product works through certs, doesn't rely on Active Directory. So there's certs that you just have to export, and the recovery project itself. And if I had those on a USB drive in my drawer, then I could fire up a new server, install Recovery Manager, import the certs, and run that forest recovery project, and I'd be good to go, even if it wasn't a member of the forest. So that's a good, important piece. Neil, any comments on this?
I think we've covered most of that. I mean, it's
okay. All right, good.
You've got to have those things documented so you know what you're trying to do.
Okay, another T-shirt question. How many more T-shirt questions do we have? Oh, I've got one more after this. Okay, good. All right. So, do you use Azure business to business or business to consumer objects or user accounts in your Azure AD? Anyone? No?
Over here.
One? Stand up. See, is this the upside down? Oh, this is Chuck Norris. No, I think we got rid of the upside down ones, but come, if you guys want an upside down shirt tomorrow, come to our booth. We'll have upside down shirts. And by the way, if I've tossed a shirt to you and it's not the right size for you, come by our booth and we'll swap it out for you, okay? All right. Let's step back and take a look at the forced environment. Hang on. Here we are. So yeah, our forest is recovered. I'm just going to switch over to, say, a domain controller. Let's go to Poodle. And as soon as this pops up, looks like I might have a little network slowdown. There we go. Again, I'm logging in with the account that we have set up within my SkyTap environment, so I'm just going to use that simple password. And yeah, he'll log in. Sure. But just the fact that it's gotten here to where it's applying user settings, I know that I've gotten further than I would have before. The password wasn't denied. So, yeah. So we did talk about Active Directory forced recovery from a corrupt system state, and that's one spot. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about that real doomsday scenario where maybe you've lost everything, right? So calamity strikes. Oh, back up. Switch back over. There we go. So calamity strikes, right? Your environment was attacked by something like ransomware, and it's fully compromised. Disks are encrypted or completely destroyed. Active Directory is completely not there. What can you do in this type of scenario? No domain controllers are around. Well, what's the first thing you can do? Anyone want to take a guess? I'll even throw a shirt out for this. I got one more shirt toss. I'll leave it. Plan. Okay, plan, huh? Update your resume. We always call it a RUS scenario, resume updating scenario. Thank you, that's a good one. Yeah, so prepare and back up, right? You need to have a preparation and backup plan. So the first thing is you want to make sure that you're making backups. If you're not making backups, your chance of recovering is pretty slim, okay? Let me just look at my notes real quick. It is possible to back up the DCs with Windows Server backups maybe once a week, get kind of that Windows Server backup, bare metal type recovery. And then just do system state backups every day for the week. And then use those in a recovery scenario. So you can see here I've got a multi-domain forest. I don't know why there's more DCs in the root domain than in the child domain, but we'll just leave that. But you can see I'm running full BMR backups on all those servers each day, or each week, and then system state each day. And then there's two levels of recovery that I think would work, right? First of all, BMR restores for each domain controller. And you might, and I really do wish I had a pointer. Maybe I can use the mouse here. Except I can't see the mouse on the other side. There it is. So you might have blank hosts that you do a bare metal recovery to, right? These hosts could be servers that are sitting offline, matching hardware to your existing DCs. And so when you do a bare metal recovery, you can just shut these boxes down and restore to these boxes. Right? Now when you do that, obviously all of your IP information is going to match the DC, because when you store system state, you get that IP information as well. Host name, domain name, force name, all of that. But if you do that bare metal recovery to your domain controllers and then follow up with a system state recovery from your most recent backup to the your recovery point objective, then you can lay down your new system state over the top of an existing forest and be current, right? So I back up weekly on Sundays, my bare metal backups on Sunday. I do dailies, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, I have a disaster. I restore to Sunday, and then I do a system state restore to Thursday. and I'm pretty close to where I was. I'm getting a couple shaking heads, but maybe it'll make more sense in a bit. Mm-hmm. It's the same instance because the bare metal, if the bare metal backup came from the same host, then you're okay. And if the hardware is the only difference between DC1 and the blank host, then you're okay as well. So, but it's a good point, and that's really important. So, another option. Oh, sorry. Go here. Another option is to do a bare metal backup of at least one DC per domain, and then system state backups of the rest of the DCs in your forest. And I actually like this option better because the storage requirements go way down. Your backups for bare metal are obviously much larger than a system state backup for just Active Directory system state. So in the recovery scenario, I'll see if I can get my mouse over here where I can see again. Where are you? Ah, there we are. In the recovery scenario, you'll do a bare metal maybe to new hardware, maybe not, right? But then you'll bring in an installed operating system, reconfigure it to look like DC2, at least from the IP address standpoint, and then do an install from media to bring that DC back online. Now, install from media does not, I'm getting a nod from the same one I got a shake from earlier. Install from media does not require the same hardware. So if you don't know what that is, DC promo install from media takes a backup and simply updates the Active Directory database from that backup as you promote the server, instead of doing it over the wire from another DC. So at the end, the goal is that all the recovered systems would have equal IP address settings from the original domain controllers. System state backups are what Microsoft wrote in a paper back in 2006, using system state backups to restore Active Directory from a corrupt state. That's what we built our tool to automate on. There's a number. Is there a question? Reset the what? The RID? That's a RID. So a RID is a relative identifier, so that's unique to each user account. Which RID do you think would, are you thinking more of the invocation ID? Right, so I think you're talking about invocation ID. So this is a good question. So when you restore Active Directory, the invocation ID of the server that you're restoring to has to be changed. And an invocation ID is a GUID, actually. You have to reset it. And if you don't do that, then the way Active Directory replicates, it uses what's called update serial numbers, or USNs. Those will differ. And DC may say, well, I think I've replicated with you up to USN 200, and you've got 320 from the other side. He'll go, well, I don't think I need anything from you because I've already gotten that stuff, and replication gets broken. But when you do an Active Directory restore, if you do it using native APIs, then the invocation ID gets changed. And when it goes to do that replication check, the DC that says, hey, I've got new data for you, what's your USN number? Because that USN number's wrong. Here's my current invocation ID, and they'll figure out what they're missing, and they'll only replicate what's different. So I actually had a customer pose this as a concern with our recovery scenario recently, and the answer is, this problem's been around for a long time, and Microsoft already has it addressed with invocation IDs. That problem actually happens when DC is restored from snapshot before 2012, before server 2012. If a DC gets restored from snapshot, the USN is the same, the invocation ID is the same, and you're hosed. You're going to get USN rollbacks or USN reuse. You'll probably break replication in your forest. It's a pain. But native backup processes don't have that problem. So good question. When you're doing a system state recovery, you have to do a lot of reconfiguration, and I kind of high level put these steps up here. There's about 30 steps in here. I color-coded them. All your DCs, if you're going to restore all DCs from backup, all of the DCs must finish the blue before any of them can start the red, right? And then all of the DCs must finish the red before they can start the green. So the blue section is restoring your DCs from backup. The red section is configuring your domain controllers so that they're talking to each other properly again. And the green steps are making those DCs available so users can log in and do what they're supposed to do. Another question? Yes, no? Yeah. Same forest. Great question. Yeah. So the question was, is this for all DCs in the same domain or the same forest? And the answer is the same forest. Especially when it comes to global catalog information, you have to have your DCs ready for that. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thanks. I've got 14 on my clock. So, there are some, I think you guys have access to these slides later. There are some resources that you can look at that talk about recovering a forest, and we put some links in here. So you can get to this deck. You can look at those. If you can't get to this deck, write us at Quest, write your sales rep, say, hey, I was at Ignite, I saw Brian speak. I really want to get that deck. I'd be glad to share it. But what about Azure? What is it that could go wrong with Azure? So I think I already asked this question.
You did.
Yeah, so we must have messed up on our slides, so I apologize. Who doesn't have a shirt that would like one? Anyone? I'm looking at some of the guys that actually raised their hand. I'm going to go way down here. All right. Great. Again, I talked about in the start of our presentation that hybrid environments, adding Azure Active Directory to your environment doesn't simplify your environment. It adds a layer of complexity. So your reliance on Azure AD, I'm sure, for all of you is increasing, right? New applications are becoming available. How many people are using Skype for Business Online now? Yeah? We moved to Skype for Business Online. It's a big change. More cloud-only type objects than you think. If you're doing B2B or B2C, you're using Office 365 groups. Does anyone use groups in Office 365 that don't exist on-prem? Boy, that's a fun one. And on-prem recovery doesn't cover the cloud because those objects don't exist on-prem, right? So just a few examples of things to worry about. The Azure AD recycle bin only keeps deleted objects for 30 days. Has anyone ever run into a scenario where they've got to recover something that's older than 30 days? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens. That's why Tombstone lifetime in Active Directory by default is 180 days to cover that. No reporting. There's no reporting in Azure AD to identify what you need to restore. You need to know what it is. You can't restore Azure-specific attributes. For example, application single sign-on. That's Azure-specific, and it doesn't go with the object in Azure AD. Azure AD groups, group memberships, or if somebody hard deletes an object in Azure, that bypasses the recycle bin. Groups and group memberships don't go in the recycle bin. Has anybody done a restore of an Azure object in Azure AD? It's onesie-twosie, isn't it? Right? Unless you know PowerShell, you've got to restore those objects one at a time. Now you just deleted 200 accounts or 2,000 accounts. How fun is that? And lastly, you can't restore objects across tenants. So let's give just an example real quick. Robert from marketing uses his on-prem AD password to authenticate to Salesforce. What happens if malware permanently deletes AAD users? Well, since Robert's on-premise account is still alive, you could force that AAD connect and sync his account back up into Azure. But the application access is not restored. So Robert's still hosed until somebody gets in there and actually recreates his application link back to Salesforce. And that's a onesie-twosie thing as well. So, okay. This is Dan's favorite slide coming up here. What do these things have in common? Neil, any idea?
I've got a pretty good idea.
Yeah, you got to. So the NFL Players Union, Neil's CISO, or Brian after a late night out. I love you, honey. Just saying. Nope. Come on. You want to enlighten him, Neil?
These are all things that can get locked out, or have been locked out.
No, I have not been locked out. Praise God. So how do you justify purchases? Let's talk about this. How do you justify purchasing tools with your CISO, Neil?
Sure, and this is actually something that's not as straightforward as you want, because some of these tools aren't going to directly save you money. You have to articulate that they will save you when you need them, and they're important. But the first thing we always had to do was get a current state analysis. You have to articulate what is our ability to recover if something goes wrong. What is our faith in the people that can recover this? And in some cases, it's not an easy scenario. And if you have a small shop with 3 very talented people, you're probably less concerned than if you get larger, more distributed. You've got more bodies. These are concerns. What level of impact would this have if you have a disaster? So it's important to sit down and articulate how long would it realistically take us to recover with native tools, because you can do it, but how long will that take? How much money are we going to lose in that? And if you can typically articulate how long it will take, your CISO or your finance people will be able to articulate how much that's going to cost them. And that's a big deal. So there are ROI calculators that I've used a couple times. And
we have an ROI calculator. I'm going to interrupt just real quick. Yeah. We have an ROI calculator that shows the value of our 4th edition product in bringing Active Directory Force up from corruption. And I went through with Neil to work out those numbers. It tries to estimate how long it would take to do the job manually, and then shows if you used Microsoft's absolute best practices, how long it would take to use our tool to run that recovery. And then if you use what we like to call our Quest best practices, which differ a little bit from Microsoft's, we can take some advantages to do it, how long it would take with that. And we fed that back to Neil, and I think your CISO, did he get to see those beforehand?
He did get to see them beforehand.
And he kind of went, that's crazy, and there's no way. And
he appreciated it. I mean, and it looked realistic, but there's still some humming and hawing on it, because sometimes you see those numbers, you go, it really won't take us that long to recover.
And then there was an incident with a partner company. So talk about that.
Yeah, after we'd shown him the ROI calculator, there's a company that we work with, not part of Cargill, but they ended up having an AD failure, massive corruption. They ended up getting lucky in the sense they had one DC that was available to them that was not online when this corruption occurred. They had to get that DC from, I think, it was not in Europe anyway. They had to get it to Europe, and I can just picture a guy with a DC under his arm trying to go through like TSA. Please don't ruin this. And they recovered, and it actually, they're a little smaller than we are, and their recovery time was actually what Brian had estimated. And that really sunk home with our CISO and CEO going, oh, these guys aren't kidding. This is really what it took to recover AD using native tools and not having these things in place. 9 days is an awfully long time to be down.
It is a long time.
It's just hard to fathom.
Wow, that's a long time. So, so one lesson in this is to never waste a good breach or disaster in justifying the purchase. Yeah. I think that's important.
You want me to tell them?
Yeah, you could talk about the other one. The CISO, after seeing that.
The day that I showed him this ROI calculator and talked about it, and he said, oh, those tools all sound really great. He did say, go talk to the finance person, find out really what this will cost me over every quarter. So that was fine. That night, I get a text message at 10 p.m. and it says, is Active Directory down? I'm like, I don't think so. So I went and logged in. Everything seemed fine. I'm working just great. He says, I can't log in. So I go and I look up I go into our Identity-Management solution, and I actually texted him right away. I said, well, I got good news for you. As of 2 hours ago, you were in the HR system, so you haven't been fired. And he thought that was great, except I looked up an Active Directory, and I couldn't find his account. I couldn't find, like, anywhere. And I started poking around, and then I looked in my account, and I went, I don't even have a manager anymore. He's gone. So I texted him that and let him know that his AD account was gone. He was still in the HR system, and we had to track down where did this occur from, why did this happen, and get him restored. So I had to dust off some skills of using the recycle bin and some PowerShell and making sure I didn't screw it up. And I did get a text about an hour and a half later, and I kid you not, he goes, I really bet you wish you had those questions right now, don't you? And this was one of those things. We were able to narrow it down. It was a case of somebody trying to merge mailboxes in Azure. In O365, there was some problems with his mailbox. And in the process, they deleted his account. It trickled back to Active Directory. We couldn't figure out, of course, who did it, though, because it just came from an Exchange machine. Yeah. And trying to track this down was hours. We spent hours just trying to get to that point using native logs. And it's hours wasted by people you're paying a fair bit of money to.
Again, having a plan, having an audit trail, those are really important when a disaster happens. That's why we put CISO in our little banter back and forth on disasters. Again, never waste a good breach or disaster in justifying a purchase. So that's our presentation for today. We're really grateful to have your time. I do want to make sure, Dan's giving me a little signal in the back. We're all good. I do want to make sure you see one other thing. We'd love for you to come by our booth. We are giving away today, we're giving away an Xbox. So if you haven't gotten over there and talked to somebody for a little while and gotten a ticket, come on by, get a ticket. You can come by just a little before 5 today. It's 5 o'clock today, right, Dan? 5 today. Put the stub from your ticket into our drawing bin, and if we draw your number, you get an Xbox. Yeah. Tomorrow, we're going to give away a Samsung Gear Sport Watch. And Thursday, if you guys are here Thursday, we'll give away a Bose Soundlink. Can I win that, Dan? No, I'm not eligible? Dang. Shoot. And, of course, we'll have T-shirts. And tomorrow's T-shirt is my favorite T-shirt. It's the Save Yourself from the IT Upside Down, which I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's our presentation. You guys, thank you for being here.